Sandro Tonali has broken his silence on his Newcastle United future, and we'll also hear from Eddie Howe with an update on Anthony Gordon's injury. Buongiorno everyone, welcome back to the Magpie Channel TV. It's quite fitting that I start with the buongiorno off the cusp, to be fair, with it being Italian and all. And we'll talk about our Italian stallion in this video, but how long will he remain our midfield maestro? Well, last night after that Champions League win over Athletic Club, Sandro got the Man of the Match award and he got asked about his contract extension and his future at the club. He said the following. He said it was a tough question because, you know, in football you need to think year for year. I don't want to say I'm going to stay here for 10 years and in 2, 3, 4, 5 years I will go. Every player here, I want to think, just for me, year for year. Basically, translating that English a little bit, he thinks every player in the dressing room, in every club, just goes year by year because they don't know what the future holds. And there's also a part of this where it's not just what the player thinks, it's also what the club thinks. You know, players fall out of favours with managers change, clubs. You may get sold, you may get put up for sale, loan, or as he's saying here, in his own personal circumstances, his mind may change. He doesn't want to say it because in 10 years' time, yeah, I'll still be here in Newcastle. Who knows where Newcastle will be in 10 years' time? Hopefully winning bloody Champions Leagues and actually be able to spend some of the Saudi cash, PSR. But what Tonali's saying is that he can't predict what is going to happen in the future. So he doesn't want to commit long-term to, say, 10 years. As most players in the change rooms will say it goes year by year. I've went off on a little bit tangent there. I should have waited. That's what I was meant to do, Matty. I meant to wait until the end to give my opinion. I want to know yours in the comments, but yeah, we'll freestyle it, we'll keep it rolling. We'll go back to what Sandro said on the back of that then. So he said, every player here, I want to think year for year, this is football. The last summer was tough for us. It was tough for Alex. He's brought up Isaac. This is football. You have an option for your life. If another team comes in for you, then you have to think about everything. Oh, I'll carry on what he said before I get into the last bit. I don't want to say, yes, I want to stay here 10 years, but now I'm happy here. Thank God for that. A little bit. I don't think about anything else, and I don't think about any other team. Right, there's a lot to break down. That's why I'm jumping on doing this video today after doing plenty of content yesterday and the last week or so, because I want to know your thoughts on this, and I want to get my feelings out there on Tonali's future and what I think is going to happen. I was going to say what I want was going to happen, but obviously we know what I want. Him to sign that bloody 10-year deal would be marvellous, but he's not going to do it, not in this day and age. So before we get into more stuff, let's just dissect what he said there. We did the first bit there about the 5 years, every year on year. Him mentioning Isaac, it's just brought me bloody PTSD. I'm going to have trauma and nightmares tonight. Halloween was last week, Sandro. I didn't need this today. I'm trying to get in the Christmas spirit now, although I think it's early, the songs are on. Honestly, I didn't want to hear Isaac's name, right? We don't want to talk about Isaac when it comes to trying to keep our star players, because with him, I would see it failed, but it's looking all right at the minute. And the cash that we got from him is lovely, that 130 million. And Sandro himself would demand a huge fee as well. But this is realistic now. And, you know, mentioning Isaac, we'll mention him. Tonali's mentioned him, and I'll say it again, as you would have seen on videos if you watch the channel regularly, how Alexander Isak literally said to my face, don't worry bro, I'm going nowhere, when I was at the after party at Boxport Wembley for the cup final, and on other occasions he said I'm not going anywhere and stuff, and then he leaves. Major trust issues now, thanks to Alexander Isak. So I'm starting to get a bit more detached from this. I see mixed things online, to be fair. We put this on our social media pages and shout out everyone that follows us on socials, especially Instagram. We hit 60,000 followers on that today, so that's a nice big accomplishment there. And I'm actually 2 subscribers away from hitting 49,000 on YouTube, so please subscribe, people. If you're watching, it's free, and click subscribe, and it means the world to me, and it helps the channel grow. So we're so close to the road to 50k, but we need to get 49,000 first, and I'm literally 2 off. So even if 2 people watching this video can hit subscribe who haven't already, you'll make my day. But on the Isaac thing, right, where I was going with that is that I just don't get as attached now. I think it was a big learning curve for me in the summer. And as a bloody adult, I shouldn't be attached to footballers. You know what I mean? What's going on in my 30s? I shouldn't be getting so bloody bothered by it. But when Isaac left, it was rage, it was disappointment, it was all the emotions under the sun. Now I'm over it. Now you're past it. And, you know, seeing Voltamada come in, and it just shows, like, you know, obviously players come and go. No one lasts longer than the club. No one's bigger than the club. No one's more important than the badge or the fans or the city or the stadium. So when players do want to leave, when players do get sold, you just have to get on with it. You just have to move on. And obviously I'll be absolutely devastated when Sandro Tonali leaves. Hopefully it's not in the way Isaac left, because that made things 20 times worse. The strike, the disrespect, the lack of professionalism. Hopefully, I was going to say Sandro won't do that. I don't think he would. I think he's the character, but neither was Isak. I met Isak a few times. I never in a million years thought he would behave the way he did in the last transfer window to get his move. So you never know when footballers have got that temptation of a different club, a different city, the pay, more importantly, chances to win trophies as well, let's be real, then yeah, it's difficult for them, but you have to behave in the right manner. And we know Isak didn't. We hope Tonali does. But I'm just not getting as attached as I used to with players now. Trying to just enjoy them while they're here, basically, because Tonali is world class. He could play for any team in the world. I said that about a year and a half ago and got laughed at on other shows, and even on here, I think, when I've said it, some people are like, calm down, mate. He's shown it now. He's literally one of the best midfielders in the world, doing it in the Champions League, the biggest competition in the world for club football. You'll have your Real Madrid, your Bayern Munich, your PSG's watching, and they will be coming in for him very soon. And honestly, I'd be surprised if he's here next season. If he doesn't leave next summer, I will be surprised. Beautifully surprised. Happily surprised. But I do think he will be off. But it will take a big offer. But I do hope it is abroad. Let's hope it's to one of those teams. Let's hope it's not to a Liverpool or a Man City. You could see Man City coming in. They probably need a bit of a boost into that midfield. I just don't want to see him playing in the Premier League. But I said the same thing about Isak. So yeah, who knows? But I think Tonali's got Madrid written all over him. Like, that sort of huge club, that sort of representation, just him wearing, like, he's a Galactico, isn't he? A gladiator also in Italy, but you could just see him being there and playing for one of the biggest clubs in the world, if not the biggest. So I could see him adoring one of those huge shirts. He's did it with Milan. He's came to Newcastle. He went to Madrid, or a Spanish giant like that. Even like I see a Bayern. I mean, he could go and be at the biggest clubs, and it's a matter of time before he does. I just find it impossible for Newcastle to keep a hold of Sandro, with PSR being there, with us in the minute in the league, bloody 13th. He's not going to stick around. Us doing well in the Champions League, we're going to win it. Who knows? I'm not writing it out just yet. We're doing really well in the competition. Last night's performance, like I said in the match review, wasn't mega convincing, but it's a results game in this one for the Champions League. When you get them knockout rounds, it's like a cup competition, isn't it? You just have to get through. It's not a campaign over 38 games like the Premier League, where you've got to perform week in, week out. You may play crap on one leg and scrape the second leg, and before you know it, you're in the knockouts, Also went far last year, so there's nothing to say Newcastle can't. Obviously would be major underdogs. But I think even winning a Champions League, or even doing something big, Sandro sounds like, in this as well, like him and his family's misses and stuff, they may think, an option for your life, he talks about here. Another team comes in for you have to think about everything. I think he's the type of player that would be tempted by a different culture, different lifestyle. Let's go live in Barcelona for a bit. Let's go to Germany, see what that's like, Munich, whatever. I'd see him doing that. Ooh, France, Paris, I think it's a dump, but when you're that rich and you can live in the best streets and never see all the crap that goes on and go to the nice fancy Chanel shops and that, then you're probably going to enjoy yourself. But I just think, as a player and as a person, I think he might like the idea of a change, a challenge, a different scenery. And that's fair enough. That's fair. That's where I come back to it, where, yes, I'll be gutted. I just hope it's not a saga, and I hope it's not as bad as the Isak one got. But I'm like, yeah, fair enough. Listen to Tonali, he's, we supported him through his ban. He's now repaying us with his unbelievable performances, like every week, just dropping 10 out of 10s for the crack. Like, never seems to put a foot wrong. He gives his all when he's wearing the shirt. We talked about it the other week, about how he took that pay cut during his ban and that, and signed that contract extension at 2030. So that puts us in a good position. I think that's the most important thing, that we'll learn from the Isak mistakes, make sure we get the best value for him. And we did, to be fair, with Isak getting 125. At first we're talking 150, then 130. But with Tonali, you'd be getting a lot of money. We paid 50 million for him from Milan. He had that 10-month out with a ban. You'd want to be at least doubling your money. And I think we would. I think Tonali would be looking at getting 110, 120. Realistically, I think that is a fair enough assessment. Let us know what you think a fair price tag would be for Tonali. But when I see it, and you see what Man United linked with that Baleba from Brighton, a young lad, he's getting linked with 100 million. Elliot Anderson now has a good season. He's getting linked to 100, 120 million. Caicedo went to Chelsea for 115. Declan Rice over 100 million. This player here, Sandro Tonali, is in that bracket. He is world class. He's in the conversation as being elite. So he can play anywhere, and it will cost a big fee. So if Newcastle get a good fee, I'd actually trust us to turn it around and sign a quality replacement. With Isak leaving and getting Voltemada, that looks good. Very good technical footballer. Needs to adapt to our style of play a bit, but I think that's solid. And we've seen other players leave, and even like freshen the squad up a bit now with like Fabian Schär getting older and Malik Chow coming in. Looks a bargain at 30 million. Obviously, we've done it with the young fullbacks. So I think I've got faith in Newcastle to go ahead and replace Tonali when that situation does arise, whether it's next summer, 2 years down the line. I would love it, obviously I would love it. Keegan style, if he did give us another 2-3 years, but I just find it hard. He's got loads of time ahead of him as well. He's still young, Sandro, but I just find it hard how do we, in a situation, make sure he stays? With the PSR problems, even though we're in a good foot now, I just mean, can we, just as a top 5 side, convince him to stay? It didn't work with Isaac. We got Champions League, wasn't good enough for him. Won a cup in that season, wasn't good enough for him. So when these players can go and sign for teams that are challenging for league titles and will go far in Champions Leagues, it's just going to push them over the edge, and especially when you can offer them double, if not triple, the salary. That's what these clubs will come in and do. Imagine if Madrid or Munich or Liverpool, for example, like they did with Isaac, come knocking and offer him another 200 grand a week. It's a fucking no-brainer, and his missus will be like, excuse me, more Louis Vuitton, please, take that. So yeah, it's a nightmare. But like I say, I'm not going to get too down about it now. I say that now. When it comes, I'll probably be absolutely devastated and whinging my head off and ranting away, but I just try and not get too attached now, because these footballers, they're not attached like to the club as much as you'd like. Some of them are, like Bruno gets it, loves it, lives and breathes it, Prata Jordi, but a lot of them say it and they don't, or a lot of them pretend, like Isaac, on the mic on the stage after winning the trophy and all that, way high and all that, then guys on strike. So I'm just like, I'm not believing it now, and I'm not getting too bothered. Like, if the player wants to move on, fine, we'll replace them, because there's just no such thing really as loyalty in football now. Like, so you can't get too emotionally invested in a single player. You can when Tonali scores and it overall helps the team. Definitely, I'll never stop doing that. But in terms of just focusing on that one player, because I did it with Isaac and it was a fucking disaster, absolute nightmare. That's something I just gone there with him leaving. It's hard. So now I'm just like, well, tell you what, fair play, he's brilliant, he could play anywhere in the world. Let's just make sure we get a good fee for him and make sure the people behind the scenes replace him properly, and we'll carry on, because that's what it is at the end of the day, business, especially in FFP terms. You've got to be able to flip players, you've got to be able to sell them on. All the big clubs have done it. Man City do it, and they seem to just not even abide by the rules, but they'll still do it. Chelsea, all these teams do sell players and move them on. Liverpool signing Isaac and stuff, but they flipped the likes of Coutinho and that for big money. So it's what has to be done, unfortunately, but it's all about how you replace them and then just enjoying them while they're here, to be fair. Got a good couple of years out of Sandro, and wish him all the best. What I do like about this is how honest he is, and at least he's transparent. At least he's not lying, because the likes of Isaac and stuff always beating around the bush when he was asked this question, when everyone was linked with him, and he always said, that he was thinking about Newcastle and all that, but at least Sandro's literally just said, yeah, well, I'm just going to see how I feel next year. We'll see what happens, see what comes in for us. At least he's being honest and transparent, and he's not feeding with lies. And I appreciate that, I respect that a lot more than him saying, oh yeah, that new contract I signed until 2030, well, I'll definitely be here for another 4 or 5 years, and then after that I might sign another one. At least he's being honest, and I rate that. And Newcastle have got that extension in place, so it does actually put us in a good position there for the sale of him. Let us know what you think on Tonali, his comments. Like I say, on the social media say things on our Instagram post, it was mixed. Some of them were like, oh no, fuck, he's away. That's him saying he's off, goodbye, nightmare, he's away. And some were saying, well, I've just said there, like, at least he's being honest. Fair enough, he's classy, he can play for anyone he wants. So it's a real mixed bag. And it is different now after the Isaac saga of how you deal with players wanting to leave and stuff, but it also is how do they deal with it, and how does he respond when a big team comes knocking? Because then that could change me. Then I could be ranting my head off if he starts going on strike and stuff. Yeah, I don't want to see that. But hopefully we'll never see that again. But football and money's a funny old game, man. You never know what it'll do to people. So yeah, we'll wait and see. But Sandro there, honest, transparent interview, basically saying he's going to see year by year. He can't commit long term because he doesn't know what the future holds, which nobody does. So yes, it's disappointing in a way, because obviously you want him to come out and be like, oh, Newcastle love it, no plan of leaving, which he kind of says at the end. He says, I'm happy here and I'm not thinking about any other team, but I'll take it year by year. Obviously you'd love him to come out and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to be here for the next 5 years, minimum 10 years. But he's saying there, year by year he will take it. And not only personally, as in what he wants in his life, does he want a city change, does he want a club change, does he want different goals? What's Newcastle's goals? How are we getting on? How are we spending money? Where's our ambition? That's got to align as well. But yeah, if one of those huge clubs like Real Madrid come knocking, got any chance, I'm afraid. I'd be very surprised. But let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Speaking about Chow and Voldemort, I'm just seeing here that they have both been included in the German side for the international break, so that's good news. I'm really happy for Chow because he didn't make the last one. Obviously, we know Big Nick's the big leader at Germany up front there. You know, he leads the line and they rely on him massively. But he looked tired last night, like, so let's hope he's all right through that international break. But really happy for Chow. He deserves his call-up to the national side. On Gordon, will he be called up for England? Well, that shouldn't happen because he went off last night. Did he go off because he couldn't be bothered? Would he have carried on through the pain like he did against Benfica? Because it's this reoccurring hip injury why he went off last night, according to Eddie Howe. But he did also feel that pain in the last Champions League game when he played a blinder and got an assist and a goal against Benfica. He played through the pain. But last night, he looked like he was low on confidence, looked like he kind of just couldn't be bothered, to be fair. I don't know what was going on there. But Eddie Howe did give an update last night as well, saying he hasn't had a full rundown from the medical team, but it's a reoccurrence of the hip injury that he's been plagued with in recent weeks. We'll assess that and see what the damage is there. So will that be a spell on the sidelines for Gordon this weekend? I don't think it'll be a bad thing. I don't think he should go on international break next week. I don't think he should play on Sunday because he's been terrible in the Premier League for ages. 21 games without a goal, 19 games without an assist. So that's a good enough reason to be dropped. Harvey Barnes, give him a shot. Murphy's the only winger that's actually doing anything half decent in terms of actually getting a bloody goal or assist. So yeah, he could mix things up away at Brentford. And then he shouldn't be going on England duty next week. He should be rested and should recover from this. Since it's a reoccurring hip injury, it obviously needs solved long term, not just a quick fix here and there, little injection, little rub, go on, get on with it. Rest, recover, and then come back stronger for the games after the international break. But I'm sure we'll hear from Eddie Howe in the press conference tomorrow with an update on Anthony Gordon, who's been centre of attention lately. Lots of people giving their opinions on him and his form of late. So let us know what you think should happen with Gordon as well. That'll do for today's video, people. Please drop a like on this one, comment below, give it a share, and subscribe to the channel, and enjoy yourself.